have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
They Live is held in very high regard by conspiracists, especially if you're a movie buff like myself. This movie was, or is, The Matrix of the 80s, a film that portrays a sinister hidden reality most people can relate to because they know deep down that something in the world just isn't right. Though the movie often seems cheesy, it nonetheless conveys a strong message about the elite of the world and its utilization of mass media to keep the population under control. The star of the movie, Roddy Piper, was noted on Twitter saying, "They Live is a documentary." This was roughly 2 years before he died in 2015. Of course he was joking, at least a little bit, right? This movie is one of those rare subversive stories that forces viewers to question their world and their surroundings. Because despite the fact that the movie is about ghoulish aliens, it communicates truths to the viewers that are only alluded to in mainstream movies. In fact, looking deeper into the storyline, one might realize that there's probably more science than fiction in this story. Are the aliens in the movie an imaginative way to portray the world's elite, those who secretly run the world, those that we call the Illuminati? Let's revisit this cult classic and see how it describes the hidden rule of the elite. Right from the beginning, as we see Nada walking around Los Angeles with his backpack, the movie sets a particular mood. Something is not quite right. There is a sense of impending doom in the air. Poverty is rampant, helicopters fly all around the city, and street preachers speak of soulless beings that rule the world.
They have taken the hearts and minds of our leaders. They have recruited the rich and the powerful, and they have blinded us to the truth. Our human spirit is corrupted. Why do we worship greed? Because outside the limit of our sight, feeding off us, perched on top of us from birth to death, are our owners. Our owners. They have us. They control us. They are our masters. Wake up. They're all about you, all around you.
Is the preacher's description of the masters applicable to the Illuminati? As we follow Nada's aimless drifting across the city, the camera often focuses on people gazing blankly at television screens, mindlessly absorbing the feeble messages it communicates. Regular Joes appear to truly enjoy their television shows, until an obscure organization hacks the airwaves to broadcast subversive messages about the hidden rulers of the world.
Natural looking, easy to apply nails, pre-colored in 7 luscious hues. Just...
Our impulses are being redirected. We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness that resembles sleep.
Oh, goddamn hacker, that second time tonight that asshole's cut in.
The movement was begun 8 months ago by a small group of scientists who discovered, quite by accident, these signals being sent through...
It's giving me a headache. Yeah, tell me about it. Must took the hackers months to figure out how to do this.
The poor and the underclass are growing. Racial justice and human rights are non-existent. They have created a repressive society, and we are their unwitting accomplices. Their intention to rule rests with the annihilation of consciousness. We have been lulled into a trance. They have made us indifferent to ourselves, to others. We are focused only on our own gain. Please understand, they are safe as long as they are not discovered. That is their primary method of survival. Keep us asleep, keep us selfish, keep us sedated.
The average Joes who watch this pirated TV broadcast all get a massive headache. The raw truth is indeed too much for most people to bear. One such viewer switches the channel after telling the guy on TV,
Blow it out your ass.
just like today, most people do not want to hear about this kind of stuff. They just want to go back to playing on their phone or mindlessly viewing television.
But one of the symbols that you will see literally everywhere there are dragons. Dragons are guarding the entrance to the city. They're all over the place. They're all over London in general. So, I mean, those of us that sort of jokingly talk about the reptilian queen and everything, I mean, we're really not too far off. I took a tour of the Tower of London, which is used to be the castles where King George lived and ruled back in the 1100s. And I, you know, it's interesting. We did all the touristy type things, but I decided that I was going to just start taking pictures of anything reptilian related that I found in this castle, and it was everywhere. I mean, it was on the tops of these helmets that they'd had, the suits of armor that they would use for jousting had like a lizard on the top, and I mean, just very unnatural places that you would put a lizard or a dragon. They seem to be obsessed with it there with regard to and of course, a lot of cultures speak through symbols more so than they do words. So you would see these sort of overriding themes, which was dragons, lizards, and just an obsession with jewels and things like that.
So Joe, there's an obsession, isn't there? You know, throughout time with these reptilian lizard entities that certainly aren't from our dimension, our world, and we can go way back into ancient times, right?
Man, that's what this is all about. Let's just start out by at least coming to an agreement that history as we know it is not the real history of the planet. I think we can both agree on that, right?
Oh, absolutely, dude.
Right. So instantly, that is something that has to be acknowledged first and foremost. Secondly, there's been evidence of intelligent life that is non-human, that has walked the planet. A great example of that is the elongated skulls down in South America. So not human DNA, but certainly something of an intelligent life form that roamed the earth. Again, like I said, it's much more like Lord of the Rings back then than it was cavemen and Neanderthals and things like that. So I find it extremely plausible. As a matter of fact, I'm banking on it that there were reptilians.
Well, Joe,
and
as well.
Probably many other species, Kev.
Yeah, and in recent times, doing a bit of digging into some of the shows I've been preparing for, I came across a story about tribes in the Amazon. It was, and how they absolutely revered midgets, little people. You know, so that obviously comes from some time in the past. There's some story attached to people, small people.
Thing to get into reptilians.
Well, let me show you one of the timelines that I came across today, right? Because this is quite interesting. And it takes us back to the time of, and these are entities that we need to look at if we're going to be discussing this. But stories of the Anunnaki, Joe. And we come back here.
Very good, very good.
And this particular timeline takes us to 6,000 BC, and we go back to Sumeria, the Sumerian city of Nineveh, right? Then you come forward, and this is the bit I want us to kind of discuss here. 5,000 BC, it says Sumerian creation myth of Enki, Eridu settlement began. Now, you were the one that really started to open my eyes to this whole thing with Enki and the Lost Book of Enki and stuff, the Lost Book of Enoch and stuff like that, Joe. So this is really, really interesting, and this is one of the points where I think you'd have to put on our timeline, on our evidence board, a kind of data point that there seems to have been some kind of outward intervention round about this point, right?
Oh, there's most certainly that. Let me give you, since you brought up Enoch, I'm looking up the generations of Noah. And what do we got there?
Never cut down a fairy tree.
Never cut down a fairy tree. And if you ever hear music in the forest that shouldn't be there, don't go towards it, right? Because I heard that might be you heading towards a fairy circle. And magical forests. And I bet you that's where some of these reptilians, Joe, used to hang around.
Oh, absolutely. The generations up to Noah actually had a meaning, believe it or not. And I'm trying to find that code. So bear with me 1 second, because it's pretty amazing. It basically, the generations, when you take the first names of the men going up through from Adam to Noah, it actually means something, because each name means something in Hebrew, and it translates, and it's a code, and it's an unbelievable code. So I'm trying to get it right now. Let's see. Adam to Noah.
Well, when you dig that up, right, I'm going to go back to this here, because I find this quite interesting, right? Because it says here, after the Anunnaki genetically altered the primitive pre-human bipeds in Africa to make human slaves, they put them to work in the fields and building their massive temples called ziggurats. Now, this is
ziggurats, right?
Yeah, this is one of the partially constructed temples. All of their temples were destroyed in the inter-family war between the Anunnaki. So you can see that there, and even this time here.
Isn't that interesting?
Badass, man, badass.
Yeah. Now, interestingly enough, the Tower of Babel, the actual foundation of the Tower of Babel, still exists today, and you can go visit it. It's called the Ziggurat of Eridu. So since you're talking about ziggurats, that's another important ziggurat. The Ziggurat of Eridu is the actual Tower of Babel. It's what's left of it.